Okay, so if we look at your first on the left-hand side, you can see that leg, if I sort of draw some lines on here now, that leg, that's why I say it looks to me like you're more on your left side. Yeah. Which I think you kind of realise probably you end up hanging back in some of the bad shots you hit before, you were hanging back. And this is where the logic comes in. If I'm falling backwards, I could just start further left. Problem is, the more left you start, you either then sway on the way back as you were, and now you can't get back to the golf ball, or you stay left in the back, so then when the speed comes on because you bent this front leg too much, then you start jumping back off it, okay? So if we watch the movement as you go back here now, that yellow line on your head sort of representing where you started, you were conscious of your takeaway, you were watching it with the peak of your cap there. When you got to here now, then you started moving, and now in terms of the back, so you've moved a long way off the golf ball, and now you're quite a long way this way, you've moved way away from where you started. Now, we want to be somewhere in that position, but at least start there. If you move into that position, movement this way now, it's going to make it very hard to go the other way, okay? So this right-hand one now, for me, you look a little bit more kind of straighter down the middle there in terms of your weight position, maybe a bit more on your right-hand side. And now in terms of the swing thought, okay, this hip, this shoulder are basically just going to go behind you, yeah? So you're not trying to sway, you're just going to rotate your right side of the way. Let your club do what it wants to do, okay? Don't worry about trying to sort of position the club. Turn the club. You can see your head position there now has stayed. It's turned a little bit with your head, but it's kind of stayed in the same position there. Watching it with the club, that's not going to disappear straight away, because I guess for the last month or so you've been watching the club with your eyes. Once you become more aware of what your right hip's doing and you're staying there, now as you come through the golf ball, your head's not going to hang back. You can get through the ball a lot better. He's up on his toe, that's a good position. Whereas this one here, now look at your head going backwards, you hit the golf ball. Yeah. So now you're dropping way back behind it. Where's your weight now? And look at your right foot, it's a bit of a telltale sign there. Yeah. So where your weight's going, you're trying to fight a fault or fix a fault with another fault by starting here, watching his club face. Now you're hearing this and you're just rocking back and forth over the place there. So start off a little bit more. It'll probably feel more 60-40. Right. Ideally, you want to be, so I guess 60-40 is not too bad. It might feel a bit more too. But just a little bit of sort of tilt there with the spine. So there's a little bit more weight on that right side. And once you're in that sort of start position, you rotate your hip now on the way back to just stay there, yeah? So your weight's sort of staying on that right side. They're basically doing less effectively, yeah? Whereas before you were starting a bit left side, then moving to the right side, then as a change of direction came in, you'd already gone momentum too far the other way, yeah? And you just couldn't get back to the golf ball. Every now and then you would sort of recover it with a bit of a flick with the hands. But I said, if you're relying on the club head now being squared up by you just flicking the hands, good luck. Because you'll flick it well some days and it'll just go wee down the middle. You'll flick it too much the other day and it's going to go left into trees left, and one day not enough and you lose it right 50 yards in the trees. And you might find that it sort of changes throughout a round of golf. As you physically change, you'll start off a bit stiff, not quite warmed up. Then you'll peak performance in the middle where you're feeling a bit more sort of lively and your blood's pumping and you're a bit looser, and then towards the end you get fatigued.
Definitely.
So physically you're changing.
Definitely a balance.
Yeah.
Show frontline scorecards are all black.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because you've not been able to move your body effectively and you've learned the timing of what your hands need to do for that given day. Yeah. So by about holes 7, 8, 9, 10, you're kind of kicking in, and then the last 6, 7, 8 holes you're playing well because you've kind of got into it. By then you've ruined half your round anyway. You've peed off anyway. So it's like, yeah, we've got to try and start a bit more kind of hit the ground running. So yeah, feel a little bit more sort of stable. Right side of the body's going to rotate, quite a bit more space, there's less sway. So your weight starts to kind of, I'll get some numbers here now. Start about 60, 40. Good, Ryan. Okay. Yeah, there you go. So start at 60, 40, kind of maintain it as you go a little bit to the right side, slightly, but not a lot. Okay. And then from here now, as you start down, you're going to be changing to almost like 80% boom on that front foot straight away. So you're moving that way as you go through. Whereas before, you probably started 60 on this side, 40 on that, maybe more. Then you would then sway a lot to that side, and then you wouldn't get back to the golf ball, yeah, because your weight's already kicking you too far to the right, yeah.
Definitely.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Good man, very good.